how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back with part 2 of some of the many negative thoughts on my mind, as it was the 13th. Technically it's 14th now, so I'm a bit behind schedule, but I thought I'd cover some of the more negative videos, or in some cases selfish videos as well, or points, because the number 13 makes me think of fears and negative things, but also selfish sort of ideas and ideals and things like that. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. As I posted in the description, in the comments, last time in part 1, and I pinned that post. I feel guilty when I post negative stuff on Facebook, or answer a call, talk about it on either Facebook or YouTube. But someone said to me, someone called Chris on my Facebook, said that it's good to talk about these things. I suppose if people keep them bottled up, then I suppose you suffer alone and no one give you advice or stuff like that. I suppose if you're suicidal or stuff like that, they'll say no one can help you. So if they don't know what you're going through, so it's probably a good way for people to say how to change a negative thought into a positive. So I hope actually these videos will actually have a positive sort of effect. I thought it would be good in a way if I only had one bad day a month, which was the 13th, and every other day was good, because overall, if it was good, anyway, here goes. So number 11, slightly OT, off topic in this case. I suppose it's a bit confusing because OT could be on or off topic, but off topic anyway. I would love to discuss my ideas to benefit AC Milan, talking about, and the Italian football teams generally, talking about not just fearful or negative ideas, but also selfish ideas in this case, which some people might say is a negative thing to be selfish. But my guilty pleasure of being an Italian football fan, in spite of the fact they're not the most ethical necessarily, but because I supported them since I was young, since I think I look Italian. On that note, I suppose, as a sort of side note to that, I do fear like boring people and repeating myself too much and stuff like that. So on that note, moving on, number 12, being demotivated. There's lots of things that demotivate me, including not being able to speak properly. But yeah, like worrying if people actually enjoy my content, not getting as many subs or viewers or both as I'd like, and feeling like failure in lots of things, and like being demotivated and dejected in some ways, like struggling. Sometimes, to be honest, it's difficult to even just get out of bed and stay motivated and like find meaningful work that I think is going to make a genuine positive difference, and things like that. So that can be quite difficult. And I feel like a lot of times I remember embarrassing things I've said or done, or just things that I feel ashamed of, or things like that. So there's lots of things that I think are a shame in the world, and there's lots of things that I'm ashamed of as well, unfortunately. Again, as it was the 13th, technically. Sorry, as it was the 13th, I thought I'd include some of those negatives. That's why these videos are a bit negative, so please forgive me for that. But again, just being honest, hopefully sometimes I'll cover more positive videos. Number 13. So there's a lot of those negative thoughts and feelings, and I have a nihilistic answer call existential crisis. And so again, sometimes, as I said in part 1, I worry whether existence would be better. I love to think it's worth living, and like existence is better, but not than non-existence. But I wish I was that positive and like could think every day is a bonus, every day is a positive thing, an opportunity, and things like that, and a general positive. But I do feel very negative about a lot of things. And like sometimes I feel like everything is pointless, worthless, even, and trivial, and things like that. On the subject, however, of scary thoughts and stuff like that, I have a lot of scary thoughts of my own and ideas for scary videos, and stories and things like that, that I could perhaps make in the future. Although I do worry that people would be like, this guy's completely nuts, which is true, I suppose, but I probably shouldn't let on. But yeah, I feel like if I made a horror movie, people are like, let's avoid that guy because he's a bit nuts. Number 14, I struggle to find solutions or change my thoughts when I think so negatively. Number 15, I struggle to focus on my ideas. And again, as I mentioned in part one, I worry whether I'm never going to get to put my ideas into action, whether I'm ever going to get enough subs, viewers, supporters of my channel, people who enjoy my content. I worry whether I'm ever going to be able to make content people enjoy and achieve my working on my 5 causes, I call them. Things I get really annoyed if people distract me, like my mum calls me or stuff like that, or anyone calls me or just distracts me generally from what I'm doing because I'm easily distracted. So if anyone calls me or tries to talk to me when I'm trying to do something, or shouts and shouts my name and stuff like that, basically calls me and stuff like that, I get really irritated. And sometimes it feels like life is just about, I'd rather have a lot more fun, being more laid back, but it feels like life always wants to make you work hard. Although I've got to admit, I don't like hard work at all, really. But moving on, number 16, I overthink a lot of things. And I know I struggle, you can probably tell in these videos, I struggle obviously to explain things and get to my point as quickly as I'd like, get to the point as quickly as I like, and things like that. Number 17, I have a lot of fears and imaginations for things going wrong. Again, overthinking things, and I think as part of dyslexia, I suppose, and mental health as well, and things like that, we over imagine negative scenarios and things like that. People with different special needs or whatever. Probably people with ADHD go through similar stuff. People with dyspraxia, like I have. As far as I'm aware, I have dyslexia and dyspraxia. Again, there I go, repeat myself. Number 18, again, going through a lot of existential and nihilistic, whatever the difference is, sorts of things like worrying whether life is worth it and what's the point of anything and whether things will last. And sometimes it feels like God just made me just to suffer, stuff like that. And my imagination playing tricks on me, like thinking, hopefully erroneously or wrongly, in other words, that God hates me and made me just to suffer and things like that. And really, I don't know if I should share this one, but here I go again. But a really negative imagination I had a long time ago was like, what if God let people go to heaven for so long and then afterwards send them to hell, like as a trick? And I often think of really, I don't really see God as loving or good as much as I would like to. And I suppose a lot of Christians say God is good, and even the word good itself, love, I mean, even love itself, himself is love and is good and stuff like that. But I struggle to see it, so I probably need people from different religions, let's say Christians, to point out things that they think are loving about God. Maybe I'm just being a pessimist, but it's just difficult to see, like, if narrow is the path, and if God would send people to hell and things like that. Like a lot of people just say, just read the Bible, but if I don't understand it, it's difficult. But also, I think, why can't they just list something or make a quote or say a quote from the Bible? Why if you ask someone who's Christian, like, to name something from the Bible or to give you a phrase or a quote or a verse, they just say read the Bible yourself. But why don't they just give you a verse to say whatever? So it's just like a short little verse, bite size, and that kind of thing. I remember when I was doing my GCSEs all those years ago. That's another thing I'm negative about, turning old. But there was things like bite-sized revision. So if you break things up, it's a lot easier. Rather than say just read the whole Bible, why don't they just give you a phrase, what they want you to know, or a verse or whatever? Anywho, moving on, number 19, talking about not being able to achieve my goals generally. I worry whether I'm ever going to be able to support Indigenous Africans and Australasians, especially in software development or STEM generally. And number 20, I also question myself, like I'm not into, I'm a bit too laid back, so I worry whether I'm lazy, and I should be more motivated, if I should have done more stuff, worked on more things and not given up so easily. Also, like, I don't like gardening. I don't do gardening and I don't do cooking and stuff like that. So I suppose part of me does wonder if, like, God would punish me for my laziness as well. And I suppose, I question my thoughts. Like, for instance, if I think, like people say you should respect your elders, but I love to think contrarianly, or whatever. I suppose I made up my own word again. But I love to think in contrarian style, like, so basically contrary to the conventional wisdom. So I heard something once where someone said, respect your children or be good to your children because they'll decide what old people's home you go to. So I love that sort of opposite way of thinking, but it's difficult when people don't understand you. So when I come up with an idea, or people wonder why I do things the way I do, and perhaps I worry too much what people think. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think on that note, as ever, and I'd love to read your comments. And if you want to make any reaction videos or anything like that, I welcome those. And I am out. Peace and love.